And as he makes his way forward, Representative Pearson moves that 1603 be laid over for possible inclusion. We have the bill in front of us. Representative Pearson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to move the delete all amendment as well.
Representative Pearson moves the DE2 amendment. Representative Pearson, to your amendment.
The delete all is basically doing what our chair has asked us to do, which is make these bills budget neutral, and we are doing as good a job with the MFIP program to make it budget neutral as we possibly can, and so we've got a funding source here that this allocates.
All right, are there any questions for the DE2 amendment? Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm glad to see the MFIP bill here in the Health and Human Services Finance Committee. That's a good thing. I understand the concept of budget neutrality, and I'm wondering if Representative Pearson, if you could tell us what's in the amendment to make it budget neutral.
Actually, I'll have my testifier talk to that a little bit, but we have a list basically that gives a list of where some TANF funding is going to currently, and we're reallocating some TANF funding that has been designated to some programs to go directly to families.
All right, welcome to the committee. If you could please state your name for the record and help us out with this question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Jessica Webster. I'm a staff attorney with Legal Aid. Thank you to Holly, Representative Dean, for hearing this today, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify. To the question about how this bill gets closer to budget neutrality, there is, on the back of the amendment, where you see line 2.2, additional family support. This is the TANF Innovation Fund. There is $3 million ongoing in this fund that the Commissioner of Human Services has fairly broad latitude to decide how these funds are spent. I think if you look at the history of this fund, I'm not sure if this handout of where this funding goes has been handed out. But if you look at the history of this fund, it does have a history of going to families as transportation stipends, as work support subsidies, but there's really been a shift in this fund over time. And now we see this fund in the past 3 to 4 years is going more to programming, staffing, research projects. And I can answer more specific questions about more recent spending, but this is consistent advocacy for legal aid and many in our anti-poverty community that we want to restore TANF dollars to TANF families in cash, because so many of the federal block grant TANF funds have been diverted to, not diverted, but used for services, used for staffing, and diverted to agencies for use over the last several years. There was a bipartisan TANF task force a few years ago that convened to look at how we could start to bring TANF dollars back to families in the form of cash assistance. This TANF Innovation Fund was not part of that discussion. It never came up in that discussion, but I have to believe that if the people at that table would have looked at the TANF Innovation Fund, they would have said this is a very appropriate source of funding to address 31 years of stagnation in the MFIP cash grant.
Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I know we have a very busy schedule, but I'm wondering if the department is here and could help us talk a little bit more about the TANF Innovation Fund. I'd like to ask them where the funding is supposed to be used, and I'd like to ask them about how it's been diverted.
Right, I think someone is making their way down.
Well, they're coming up. Could I ask Representative Murphy? Okay, I'm new to this. What is the fund they're taking this? I don't understand that.
TANF stands for Targeted Assistance for Needy Families. So it is federal, pardon me? Temporary assistance for needy families. It is federal funding that it's intended to help very low-income people work their way up the economic ladder into economic security.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, welcome to the committee. If you could please state your name for the record and present your testimony.
Thank you. I'm Deborah Schlick. I work for the Minnesota Department of Human Services in the Economic Assistance Division. The question was about the innovation funds. I wasn't.
Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ms. Schlick. The testimony we just heard was that the TANF Innovation Funds have, some of those funds may have been diverted to staffing or other purposes other than going to needy families. And so I'm just wondering, one, if you can tell us where those funds have been spent, for which families in Minnesota, and then if the funds are indeed being used for purposes other than assisting families.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Slick.
Chair. Representative. So these funds are not, from the couple of examples the testifier offered, when they were used, for instance, to help supplement transportation costs, but they're rarely direct assistance to families. They are not, however, ever spent on state staff or on research. They're spent on direct services to families, and the intention of the funds is to allow local sites to demonstrate what they think are most promising practices and interventions, and to understand whether those interventions are making a difference. So in the recent past, we've just finished a project where we looked at the poor outcomes we get for African American and American Indian parents who turn to MFIP, and funded local counties to see if they could offer better and more effective services. We have used this to help parents go through the new GED tests and standards that are to be met, gave counties extra funds to help families adjust to the changes in that process so they'd be more likely to pass GED tests. The future plans the department has are to test some local two-generation approaches where we look both at the parent and the child and look at how could a integrated intervention help both improve their life circumstances, and to work with tribes who are attempting to integrate employment services from multiple different funds.
And Mr. Chair.
Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ms. Schlick. Innovation. Innovation is one of the things I think we all seek, especially in this committee. Where can we make headway? Where can that headway help the people being served? In your expertise, and of course you come to the position you're in now with a lot of expertise serving people working their way up and out of poverty. Are we seeing some promising innovations? Are we seeing some fruit for these tax dollars in terms of opportunities to help people work their way up into economic security?
Some of the projects we've been funding have helped. The one we just finished on more equitable outcomes from African Americans and American Indians have led some of those counties now to begin to change their practices across the board instead of as a demonstration project. We have been doing youth employment projects as well and are working with DEED. What those projects have helped us understand is how income is treated by young people for their families' benefits can create confusion. So we're working with DEED to make sure that that families understand how their young person's income can come into the household and the family can retain benefits. So we're working on that across the board. So in a number of instances, we do get to make across the board changes because of things local providers have tried out.
All right.
Representative Murphy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing with us a little bit of what's happening. And I know we don't have, we have the amendment before us and we haven't adopted it yet. But I think as I was looking at this ahead of the committee, it is unfortunate that we're in a place of having to choose and take money from a pot that is meant to help people work their way up the economic ladder to fund a program to help people work their way up the economic ladder. It's a terrible choice from my perspective when I think about the state of Minnesota's budget. And I think it's important that we recognize the choice that's before us in this amendment. And I do, understand what's coming our way, right? I asked our staff to take a look at what we've heard in this committee so far in terms of spending proposals, and it's more than $2.2 billion so far. Bills that have come through this committee that we're considering for the budget. And, I think, at least in the circles of gossip, we're going to get a cut target in this committee. So we have many hard choices in front of us, not just this one. But for the people who are at the very end, the very bottom of the economic ladder, we're in this position of having to find within the budget funding to make this budget neutral. So then my last question before we adopt the amendment is for the author. If we make this choice, if we agree to this amendment and ratchet back this funding source and take it from another funding source that serves very low-income people, do you have a guarantee that it's going to be included in the budget?
Representative Pearson.
I don't have a guarantee on anything, Representative Murphy, and I think you're aware of that. It's not something you secure on bills like this. This is a huge state budget, and we have all kinds of opportunities of where and how to invest dollars. My goal in bringing in this amendment is to designate dollars that have been spent on research programs. We've spent $779,000 to consultants at the University of Minnesota Management and Support Network for research and training with counties. And that's great work, but there's dollars and other sources that are supposed to be doing those jobs as well. These dollars can be directed and redirected directly to help families. We've spent $1.6 million in planning to the Two Generations Poverty Research Project that was just mentioned. Again, these are dollars. Times are tight for those families out there, and when we haven't had an increase for 31 years in this specific investment, Minnesota Family Investment Program, this is how we can reinvest those dollars directly into the families like the whole program was set up and intended to do to begin with.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair,
Representative Murphy.
and this will be my, I know other people are going to want to talk about this. Representative Pearson, I am really happy you're the author of the bill. I think it is a great sign for us and for our future when there are Democrats and Republicans working together to try and help people at the end, the bottom rung of the income scale. I think that's great. And the only problem I am struggling with here is that given the fact that we do have a budget that's stably balanced and we have a surplus, that in order to help people, we have to take it from another place that would help the very same people. Instead of finding the $30 million of your original bill, or even the $3 million that's in your amendment to help them out. And I know that we're going to spend another week or two together going through hard choices, this committee, right? But I don't want to let this go by without acknowledging the really, really stinky choice that's embedded in this for the people that we're trying to serve.
Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think we maybe are a little ahead of ourselves here and need a little explanation. Probably, I don't know if Ms. Webster or maybe the testifier from DHS would be, I know Representative Lunan mentioned, what is this? And I think sometimes in these committees, we sort of assume a level of understanding of what we're doing here. And I think it's important for members to understand the basis of what we're talking about here. And so I could give you my explanation, but I think it would be better if we got the DHS person back or, maybe somebody else from the department that can just give members the understanding of, MFIP and how it's funded and why we're talking about, working within these different moving dollars here and there. And if Mr. Koppel, and could you please explain what has happened over the years since or more appropriately, what has not happened since 1986? And who are we talking about here that we're trying to give a little extra income to?
Welcome back to the committee. Commissioner, if you could please state your name for the record and present your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm Jim Koppel. I'm the Assistant Commissioner, Children and Family Services, Department of Human Services. So I think one of the more informative documents and background pieces would be what Ms. Webster referred to 2 years ago. We did a review of all of the money that is in our TANF block grant, comes to Minnesota, comes through the department, and over the years has been allocated when there's been balance in those funds. On occasion, it has been reallocated to other areas. One of the largest reallocations is to the, just as for instance, is to the Department of Revenue to pay toward the working family credit, which helps a lot of low-income families, not necessarily TANF families, but it does help a lot of low-income families and families who are coming off of TANF into low-income jobs. There's money that goes to the Department of Health, pays for some home visiting, also pays for some disparity grants that go out to help eliminate disparities in the community that are also good programs. And in the discussion we had, and I came to the Department of Human Services right toward the end of that task force who was looking at this, the spending, and really what was the bottom line is a lot of good decisions were made about programs that needed funding and needed money, and money was allocated. The problem is, and I think Representative Murphy alluded to this, is we're spending money intended to give grants to people and help them out of poverty, and we're spending it on other programs and areas, including the Innovation Fund, that is also trying to eliminate or alleviate poverty and move people into or toward economic security. And we're using the same funds to do that. So in that report that was issued 2 years ago, it was recommended that the state take back those funds that are being sent to other departments and other places, but to backfill that with general fund money, and then take what is now a more pure TANF block grant and use it to increase the grant by $100. I think that's what, when you claw back the money, that's about what you can afford to do with the extra money. So that was the background of how, while we've talked about it over the years, because there hasn't been a grant increase for over 30 years, and the buying power of the grant is greatly diminished. You know, the thought was it would take an infusion of significant amount of money to get this grant back toward cost of living, but also to be fair to the TANF block grant, which was never intended to fund these other programs. But again, it's a block grant, so it's a state's prerogative to do that. So I think it's a complicated issue. It's all of these things. I'm not critical of any of the programs that are being run with this money, but it is intended to be toward those grants to families. But I want to emphasize, it also was intended to backfill those cuts to those other programs with general fund dollars.
Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Koppel. So just, just to be a little bit more, even more clear about it for anyone who may be watching and may not understand our jargon and so on, this is what we used to call it the welfare program. And it hasn't been called that for many years. It's called the Minnesota Family Investment Program. But this is for poor children and poor families, and it's temporary. Okay, you get a 60-month, correct me if I say anything that's incorrect, 60-month lifetime eligibility. So this is the safety net for families in Minnesota. And the block grant that comes from the federal government is we call it TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. And it's a set amount of money that we get. And as Mr. Koppel's explained, we've used it for various things over the years. And the thing that we haven't done with it is increase the amount of cash a family gets when they're on our MFIP program. So this has been a concern of many of us for years. I also was glad to see Representative Pearson take this up, because obviously it's not always the most politically popular thing. But these are our most vulnerable. I think the numbers about who's on it, I mean, this is children. This is children who are living in dire poverty. And I wanted to ask Mr. Koppel also if you can give us the figure. So before us, we have the original bill and the amendment. What we don't have is what the current payment is right now, the current cash grant, the one that has not been increased since 1986. So I think we have members of this legislature who were born after 1986. You know, this is an unbelievable thing that we haven't raised the cash amount. And so I just, we know that poverty itself is a huge risk factor for children. And yet, when a family gets on our program, we leave them in dire poverty. Now, I know that other pieces have gone up, the food portion's gone up, and there are other things, but the amount of cash that they get, and for many families, all the things a person has to buy comes out of this cash. I mean, other than this food portion, which I think is probably not enough anyway. But for many families, this is going to be housing, it's going to be bus fare, it's going to be a bottle of shampoo, it's going to be, everything else. And so we are, as my understanding, and this is what I want to get from Mr. Koppel, when somebody's on our TANF program, where are they with respect to the level of what we call the federal poverty level? Because my understanding is they're way below that. And then I want to understand the bill brings us up by how much, and the DE amendment brings us up by how much? Can you give us that?
Commissioner Koppel.
Mr. Chair, Representative Liebling, I don't know if I can give you all of that, but I'll start with what I understand your questions to be. For a family of 3, the grant is $532 a month. If you look at federal poverty for a family of 3, this would place a family of 3 well below 50% of poverty. And in most cases, if you are on our TANF program, which we call MFIP, Minnesota Family Investment Program, if you're on our MFIP program, you are likely in deep poverty, if that's all you're doing. If you're not working part-time or have some other income, that the grant portion alone is very low. The $100 a month would not bring it, it would not bring it a long way. That's $1,200 a year. So at $1,200 a year, adding to this amount for a family of 3 would get it closer to 50% of poverty. It might even exceed 50% of poverty by a dollar or two, but it is still very much what we consider deep poverty. So the amendment, as I understand it, for the $3 million, and that's, and we have not, as far as I know yet, I think we may have been asked for a fiscal note on this today or yesterday maybe, but we haven't prepared one yet. My understanding would be if the cost is closer to $60 million for the $100, that this would be, $6 million over the biennium or 10%. But that's math, which I don't trust because it's not a fiscal note. It's my own math and common math, but it'd be in the ballpark of 10%, I would guess. But so that'd be $10 a month. And I don't stick, go ahead.
Representative Pearson.
I'd just like to address that for just a second. Again, at the original $532 a month, you can sit with your iPhone, and I just did that again, so I think somebody thought I was texting while I was sitting here. And the reality is if you take that 532 and take it times 1.025, which if you want to call that inflation rate, and start counting off 1987, 88, 89, all the way to 2016, the number's $1,115.90. And it gets you a lot closer to the poverty level today. We put this on pause back in 1987 and haven't hit play since. All I'm trying to do is hit play. And all I'm trying to do is move that number. And all I'm trying to do is help families.
Representative Liebeling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Pearson, I'm not saying you're not, but I think all you're doing here is having a little skip on the record, actually. I don't think it's pushing play because $10, that's what we're talking about. Members, the DE amendment is a $10 increase when we have not increased this since 1986. The bill itself is still inadequate, but that's $100 a month. And I think I signed on to this bill, but boy, I wouldn't have if I thought it was $10 a month, because if I knew that then next year and the next year after, we're going to give increasing increases.
It's in here.
But we don't, well, yeah, something's in here, inflation is in here, but boy, that's not ever going to get you there. I mean, I remember what we're talking about, members, at a time when we're talking about, aging population, needing a workforce, giving, we hear all the time in this committee about how we need to give children the best start we can. We talk about how sympathetic we feel for people with disabilities who have to spend down to 100% of poverty. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about children in Minnesota who are below 50% of the poverty level. And they're not getting anything. This is not getting better, and it hasn't gotten better since 1986. And so, I know Ms. Webster wants to address this again, and that's fine. I'm sure we'll hear more about this, but, I cannot support an amendment that takes us from $100 a month addition to $10 a month for these families. And I'm going to ask for a roll call on the amendment, Mr. Chair, and I'm very interested to hear what the rest of the discussion is going to be. Thank you.
Representative Liebeling requests a roll call. There will be a roll call. Ms. Webster.
That's no, not.
Nothing at this time. Representative Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a co-author of the bill, and I really appreciate Representative Pearson bringing it forward. And I appreciate Representative Liebeling kind of setting the context here, because inflation has been, prices have more than doubled since 1986. And I think we can all think of various prices. Price of a first-class stamp in 1986, 22 cents. All kinds of other things, prices more than doubled. And this is one of the most shocking things that I found coming to the legislature. I'm ashamed to say that I hadn't known this before coming. The fact that our basic payment to families with children, and every one of the families receiving these payments have kids, and in every single case, the law requires that there be a limit, a lifetime limit. And so we're talking about time-limited support as well. This is really, really basic need. The $10 a month, by my calculations, and please somebody correct me, but it would take 15 years to get us even to the $100. And I was a little bit reluctant even in the first place, and I'm very much appreciating it. But of course, even $100 still leaves a family with, as the commissioner said, a very, very low income. $10 a month is just so little as to be just incredibly frustrating that there'd be a wait of 30 years and then we'd have this. And I guess what's really killing me in this is that this is going to be paid for, that there's the demand to be budget neutral, by diverting funds which, as the commissioner said, are also going to support families in this situation. And this seems like a real concern as we consider other budget bills, other proposals, that we're requiring people with huge needs to figure out how to divert money, which is already meeting their needs, and divert that to meet these other needs, and pitting them against one another and themselves. So I'll just leave that with the comment, unless Representative Pearson or the testifier want to respond. But I'm strongly opposed to the amendment, and I would say, Representative Pearson, you brought forward this bill, which is great, and I would say we should continue to fight and continue to push the idea that there should at least be a $100 increase, and then go forward from there. So please keep the fight up, and let's oppose this amendment and make sure that there is a meaningful increase now and going into the future.
Response, Representative Pearson.
Well, I appreciate the support that I have from Democrats on the other side of the aisle. I would say that this is a way to get the ball rolling and to push play, like I stated earlier. I would also point out that while we were increasing taxes by $2 billion just a few years ago, we didn't bother raising the MFIP payment at that time. I would point out that there are other benefits. There are certainly other programs that are out there. This MFIP payment is for basic needs, and we need to get the ball rolling again. I'm just trying to make that happen, and if people want to vote against an amendment that actually makes that happen, well, they want to vote against a $10 increase, they should vote against this delete all.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Pinto.
thank you, Mr. Chair. So the way I'm viewing it is I'm voting against a $90 decrease because I signed on a bill with a $100 increase.
Mr. Chair.
And well, I'll let you respond, and then yeah.
Well, my response would be, the current law is the current law. This is
And-
a $10 increase in current law, not a $90 decrease in current law.
And Mr. Chair, the bill that I signed on to was a $100 increase. That is a meaningful increase. It's not nearly enough. I think we'd agree on that, but it's a meaningful increase. The amendment is to take a step back from that. I understand the point about current law, and I'd say neither you nor I were present when in the prior term that you're referring to regarding taxes. It does occur to me that we have a situation with a $1.6 billion surplus. Targets are going to be coming out for this committee and for others, and they're going to provide an indication of the priorities of the folks who are in charge. And so at that point, we're going to find out how much are we prioritizing, what sort of choices are we making. We've got a $1.6 billion surplus. That was not necessarily the case in the past that you're referring to. And I think it's really, really important that we prioritize children and families, and especially the most needy kids and families, as we're doing that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Pinto. Representative Considine.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to let Representative Loeffler go before me, if that's all right.
Representative Loeffler.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I think we're having an interesting debate and trying to figure out how do you best help really low-income families with kids. And I think there's been bipartisan interest over the time that hasn't always done the heavy lift that's needed. I think we need to remember that who gets on these programs, it's people who are caught in an economic crisis. They may be juggling 2 jobs as waitresses in 2 different restaurants, or a retail job and a restaurant job, and their hours get caught at one, or the restaurant goes out of business, and all of a sudden there isn't enough income coming in to pay the rent, and there isn't an ability to get a new job by the first of the month. And this is their only alternative. A lot of people don't qualify for unemployment insurance either because they're juggling 2 part-time jobs, because they haven't been on the job long enough, and this is the safety net for those people. Not everyone's lucky enough. Usually if you're at the lowest end of the salary scale, you can't save up a safety net to catch you. And for someone to, what we're debating now is for a parent and 1 child, $447 versus $537, which doesn't, begin to get just the basic cost of living. And so they continue to be in crisis and rely on other services, including going into homeless shelters. And those homeless shelters are not inexpensive to our property taxpayers. They cost up to $2,000 or more a month. And the worst thing is that the kids pay the real price. There's good research that shows that the kids fall behind at least 6 months in learning when their lives are that disrupted. They don't know where they're going to be that night. They've had to give up most of their possessions. Maybe they got to bring 1 toy with them or 2 in a backpack. And it's a pretty disruptive thing, and we know that's very harmful to kids. And so we did step up 2 years ago with a housing assistance grant to help people try and at least maintain their housing while they're going through this crisis. So I think that we have in various programs in different ways tried to step up in different ways, and I think it should be on the record that we did do that because we did really want to stabilize those families when we could, and it wasn't enough to do that. But I do think that in every other bill that we have heard before this committee, we have heard big asks. We've seen fiscal notes with hundreds of millions of dollars. And we haven't carved those back in fiscal reality. We've instead laid them over for full consideration, knowing that the chances of them getting that full financing are limited. And it's interesting that this bill is being handled differently in terms of not saying our aspirations go into the mix and then the budget target and choices will be made. But this one doesn't get to present even the original ask. And that's disappointing because in no other bill that I can recall did we substantially change the impact through an amendment before it was even laid over. And to me, that's really disappointing because in every other bill, we spoke to the hopes and dreams of the people to be served and said we're going to consider that seriously in the final decision. And this one's being treated differently, and I don't know why. But I think we need to think seriously about that.
Representative Considine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would also make the point that during the time period you were talking about, we had $2 billion deficit and owed another $2 billion to the school, and the DFL, I was not here then, did raise $110 in the housing that she's talking about. But I actually have a question. Early on, you said you were required to be budget neutral. Now we have $1.65 billion surplus. What is so sacred about being budget neutral for $30 million and doing the right thing? What is it that we need to be budget neutral about when we have this surplus and it's $30 million?
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Considine, I believe we were here pretty late last night when the chair was talking about successfully having a positive bill that actually saved the state of Minnesota some money. That's what I was referring to, and I don't believe I ever used the word required. So I do take offense of you misconstruing or mistakenly reusing my words. But I would tell you that I think that we're looking at something that hasn't changed since 1986. The strategy from the last 3 decades has failed. And the only thing that's changed is the fact that we're trying to get it passed and doing everything we can to get it passed. I know there's a number of people in this room who want to see a change. They want to see an upward movement in that payment. And I'm just trying to make that happen.
Representative Considine.
Representative Pearson, I apologize for using the word required. What was the word you used?
Representative Pearson.
I think I just referred to the fact that I don't know, I'd have to review the tape that I've successfully found a way to make it as budget neutral as we can make it.
Well, I am sorry for using the word required, but I am still of the opinion that for $30 million, we can make a significant difference in these people's lives, and we do have a surplus at this point. Thank you.
To this point, Representative Murphy.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and, thank you for letting us go this long in the discussion about the amendment, because I think the amendment it's important, right? I am, again, happy that we are in common territory wanting to help people up the economic ladder. I am. It's great. It's a good sign. It's like fresh buds on a tree of a legislature that feels pretty detached from the experiences of Minnesotans around us. So that's good, and I really hope you hear me in that. And I think if we were able to agree that the bill as introduced, that goal, going from, for the last 31 years of not raising cash assistance and recognizing that that is a long time. It's a long time. That's, past legislature's decisions. It's a long time, though. That $100 that $100 that is in your bill is really meaningful. It would make a meaningful difference for the families that we seek to support. And so the frustration, the disappointment that you're hearing from me and from others is that we're stepping away from that. And I want to vote yes for your bill before the committee. I want to vote no on the amendment so I can vote yes for your bill to say we have big hearts. We Minnesotans who care about each other. We live as neighbors with one another, and we care about all of us. I'm asking you to withdraw your amendment. Just withdraw it. Let's vote on your bill. Let's lay it over and see how it fits. And without a guarantee that it's going to be included in the bill anyhow. Let's go and fight together with Chair Dean and see how far we can get. Because that $100 would make a real difference for families. Thank you for your effort on this.
Chair Dean.
Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion we'd lay the bill on the table.
There is a motion that we lay the House File 1603 on the table.
Mr. Chair, is there a vote on that? There is a vote?
There's a vote.
There will be a
roll
vote.
call on that, please.
Representative Liebling requests a roll call on laying House File 1603 on the table. The clerk will take the roll.
Chair Dean.
Aye.
Representative Albright. Aye. Representative Murphy.
No.
Representative Allen. Representative Backer.
Aye.
Representative Considine.
No.
Representative Fisher.
No.
Representative Franson.
Aye.
Representative Grunhagen.
Aye.
Representative Haley. Representative Halverson.
No.
Representative Hamilton.
Yes.
Representative Heintzman.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Liebling.
No.
Representative Loeffler.
No.
Representative Lomer.
Yes.
Representative Lunan.
Yes.
Representative Pearson.
Yes.
Representative Pinto.
No.
Representative Schumacher.
Yes.
Representative Schultz. Representative Zerwas.
Yes.
All right, there being 13 ayes and 7 noes, House File 1603 is laid on the table.
Mr. Chair.
Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The power of the majority is real, and the power of our voices in the minority is real as well. And when we raise questions that make the majority feel uncomfortable, and the reaction is to kill the bill, for the people who are at the low end of the income scale, because we're pushing. We're asking a hard question. To lay it on the table as a punishment for asking hard questions, it's just not right.
Chair Dean.
Mr. Chair and members, obviously we've had a good long discussion on this. We come to a point where there's not going to be an agreement on moving forward. I would suggest that we would continue to do so. Bill is still in the committee, and we can pick it up and move it along, hopefully with a little more cooperative spirit. But we do have many bills to get through, and we want to proceed with that now.